Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our sauciest viewers, Burger Guy 47. Thanks for the suggestion, Burger Guy. You asked, who decided that ketchup belongs in a bottle? Great question, because if you've ever spent 10 minutes trying to pour ketchup from a glass bottle like you're defusing a bomb, you've definitely wondered who thought this was a good idea. So today, we're cracking open the story behind ketchup's bottling journey. From its funky fish sauce origins to the guy who made ketchup safe to eat and socially acceptable at dinner parties, we're diving into the red, sticky saga that made bottled ketchup the global standard. Let's bottle up the truth, right here on Explaining Everything. Believe it or not, ketchup didn't start out as the tomato-based comfort condiment we know today. In fact, it didn't even have tomatoes in it. The original ketchup came from Southeast Asia and was made of fermented fish. Yes, fish, with a side of salt, and maybe a hint of, what did I just eat? The word ketchup is derived from the Hokkien Chinese word ketchup, a kind of fermented fish sauce. British traders discovered it in the 1600s, and like all good tourists, they immediately tried to bring it home and make it weird. Once it hit Europe, local versions of ketchup popped up using everything from mushrooms to walnuts to anchovies, basically anything except tomatoes. And still no bottles, just sauce in jars, crocks or barrels that you had to ladle out like medieval soup. Tomatoes finally joined the ketchup party in the early 1800s in America. People were like, hey, what if this thing we called love apples could be mashed up and turned into something that doesn't smell like a dock worker's lunchbox? The tomato trend caught on fast. But there was a catch. Early tomato ketchup was unstable. Not emotionally, although it may have been. Chemically. Without refrigeration or preservatives, it could spoil quickly. People would make homemade batches and hope the ketchup didn't ferment, bubble, or explode. It was like playing condiment roulette. Even worse, some companies added preservatives like coal tar and sodium benzoate. Coal tar. Who looked at that and said, tastes like home? Enter Henry J. Heinz, the man who saw this absolute mess and said, what if we made ketchup? Not horrifying. In the 1870s, Heinz decided to fix ketchup's bad reputation. He used ripe tomatoes, lots of vinegar, and enough sugar to make dentists cry. He also removed all the sketchy preservatives and focused on cleanliness and quality control. But Heinz didn't stop there. He wanted people to see that his ketchup was fresh and clean. So he bottled it in clear glass bottles, not clay pots, not metal tins, glass, transparent, elegant, and just inconvenient enough to be classy. It was ketchup with nothing to hide and everything to stick to the inside of the bottle. So why the bottle? Why didn't Heinz go with a jar or a tube or a small bucket you could scoop out with a spoon? At the time, glass bottles were seen as a sign of quality. They were sleek, sanitary, and looked fancy on a dinner table. If you were rich enough to have ketchup in a bottle, you were probably rich enough to have a napkin that wasn't made of your pants. Plus, glass didn't react with the acidic tomatoes like metal did, which meant no weird, metallic ketchup flavor, just pure, tangy goodness. Heinz figured the bottle wasn't just packaging, it was a marketing tool. It said, "This is the real deal." And it worked. People trusted the bottle. Of course, with great bottles came great frustration. Getting ketchup out of a glass bottle is a challenge that has plagued humanity for over a century. There's the gentle tap, the aggressive shake, the awkward knife poke, and then the terrifying moment when nothing comes out for 5 minutes, and suddenly all of it does. Fun fact, Heinz put the number 57 on their bottles and claimed tapping that exact spot would help the ketchup flow. Science has yet to confirm this, but it's given generations of diners something to do while awkwardly avoiding eye contact across the table. Finally, someone said, "Enough of this nonsense," and thus the plastic squeeze bottle was born in the 1980s, and it changed everything. No more shaking, no more scraping, no more turning the bottle upside down and praying to the condiment gods. Just a satisfying squeeze and a perfectly controlled squirt of ketchup, unless you forget to shake it first, in which case, enjoy your tomato water surprise. Despite the squeeze bottle's rise, the glass bottle never disappeared. It stayed on as a symbol, a ketchup icon, a fancy little reminder of our saucy past. So, who really decided that ketchup belongs in a bottle? It was a mix of evolving food trends, public health concerns, and one very determined man, Henry J. Heinz. He didn't invent ketchup, but he absolutely rebranded it. He made it safe, made it tasty, and most importantly, made it trustworthy. And he put it in a bottle that said, "This isn't weird fermented goop anymore. This is America's favorite condiment." From then on, the ketchup bottle became the gold standard. Other companies followed suit, but Heinz made it iconic. So the next time you're at a diner wrestling with a glass ketchup bottle like it owes you money, remember, it's more than just a condiment. It's a story of survival, innovation, and one man's dream to make tomato sauce fancy. If you enjoy this video, or if you've ever wrestled with a glass ketchup bottle like it was a final boss, please like and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.